She stopped replying because your presence became an obligation rather than a reward. Most men view ghosting as an anomaly, a glitch in the matrix of their social lives. But the reality is far more clinical. It is a calculated, often subconscious withdrawal of attention by a woman who has realized that the cost of interacting with you now outweighs the potential benefit. You are likely operating from a position of scarcity, projecting an energy that subtly screams for validation rather than commanding respect. This is the moment you stop asking why she did this and start asking who you were being that made this the logical outcome. To master this dynamic, you have to be willing to dissect your own insecurities and rebuild your social framework from the ground up. The silence of a smartphone is louder than any verbal rejection could ever be. You stare at that screen, watching the timestamp of her last active status mock your expectations. And you begin the frantic, desperate autopsy of your last 10 messages. This experience is a universal rite of passage for the modern man. Yet very few understand the psychological architecture behind why a woman chooses to vanish without a trace. Ghosting is rarely about a lack of time. It is always about a lack of perceived value. When a woman ghosts you, she is signaling that your current iteration does not warrant the expenditure of her social energy. This sounds harsh, and it is meant to be. We are moving beyond the soft, comforting lies of the mainstream dating world and into the cold mechanics of attraction. If you want to stop the cycle of being left on red, you must first accept that your behavior is the primary variable you can control. I remember a period in my life when I was chasing a woman who seemed like the ultimate prize. She was intelligent, breathtakingly beautiful, and had a sharp wit that kept me constantly engaged. I felt like I had to perform at my absolute peak just to keep her attention. I would spend 20 minutes crafting a single text, trying to be the perfect blend of funny and stoic. I was obsessed with the outcome. One Friday evening, we had a loose plan to meet up. I sent a message asking for the time, and the reply never came. I watched the hours tick by, my anxiety rising with every passing minute. I sent a follow-up text a few hours later, trying to sound casual, but the desperation was transparent. The silence lasted for weeks. It felt like a punch to the gut because I had placed my entire sense of self-worth into her hands. I realized later that I had been a fanboy in a designer suit. I was so afraid of losing her that I had already lost myself. I was providing her with a surplus of attention without demanding any investment in return. This failure taught me the most important lesson in dating. Attraction cannot survive in an environment where one person is doing all the heavy lifting. The first psychological pillar we must address is the catastrophic impact of overinvestment. Evolutionarily speaking, women are hardwired to be the gatekeepers of sexual access, while men are the seekers. When you flip this script by being overly eager, you trigger a biological alarm bell in her mind. High-value men have options. Therefore, they do not need to rush the process. When you text her immediately after a date, or when you fill her phone with paragraphs of text before she has even replied to your first message, you are communicating that you have no other prospects. You are signaling that your life is empty enough that a single interaction with a relative stranger has become your primary focus. This creates a massive power imbalance. Women are attracted to the prize, the man who is difficult to attain and even harder to keep. By giving away your attention for free, you have commoditized yourself. You have become the discount item on the clearance rack. To fix this, you must adopt the equal exchange rule. Your investment must mirror hers. If she sends short, sporadic messages, you do not respond with long-form essays. You must have the discipline to let the conversation breathe. If the energy dies because you stopped over-investing, then the attraction was never real to begin with. You must be comfortable with the silence. The second reason for the ghost is the death of mystery through extreme predictability. The human brain is a novelty-seeking machine. We are biologically designed to pay attention to things that are uncertain and to ignore things that are constant. If your communication follows a strict, polite, and safe pattern, you become background noise. If you ask her, "How was your day?" every single morning at 9, you are no longer a romantic prospect. You are a habit, like a morning coffee or a weather report. Eventually, the novelty wears off, and the dopamine spike she used to feel when seeing your name disappears. To prevent this, you must introduce pattern interrupts. You need to be the man who is occasionally unavailable, who teases her about her flaws, and who isn't afraid to disagree with her. Disagreement creates friction, and friction creates heat. If you are always agreeable, you are boring. You need to challenge her. When she says something, don't just nod and smile. Push back. Make her defend her opinions. This shows that you have a backbone and that your approval is not easily won. A woman will never ghost a man who makes her feel a wide range of emotions, including mild frustration or the need to prove herself to him. Third, we look at the transmission of low-value signals through a lack of boundaries. Respect is the foundation of attraction. You cannot have one without the other. Many men believe that being nice and accommodating is the path to a woman's heart. This is a lie. If you cancel your gym session because she asked to see you at the last minute, you are showing her that your health and routine are less important than her whims. If she is late to a date and you greet her with a wide smile and no mention of the disrespect, you are telling her that your time has no value. Women subconsciously test boundaries to see if a man can lead. If you fail these tests by being a doormat, her attraction will evaporate. She doesn't want a servant, she wants a peer. To shift this, you must become the guardian of your own time. Set hard boundaries and stick to them. If she flakes, you don't give her a second chance until she has earned it. If she is disrespectful, you call it out immediately and calmly. This tough love approach to yourself and your relationships is what separates the men who get ghosted from the men who get respected. Fourth, we must acknowledge the brutal reality of the digital marketplace. We live in an era of infinite choice. An attractive woman has a literal warehouse of men in her pocket at all times. If you are playing a safe game, you are losing to the man who is willing to be bold. You cannot afford to be just another guy. To stand out, you have to be polarizing. Polarization is the art of being so authentic to your own values and personality that people either love you or hate you immediately. The middle ground is where ghosting happens. If you try to appeal to everyone, you will be memorable to no one. Stop trying to be the nice guy who doesn't offend anyone. Have opinions. Be aggressive with your humor. Speak your truth without looking for permission. When you are polarizing, you filter out the women who aren't a fit for you, and you intensely attract the ones who are. You want to be a shot of whiskey, not a glass of lukewarm water. Some people won't like the taste, but the ones who do will keep coming back for more. The fifth psychological trigger for ghosting is the failure to escalate. This is where most nice guys die. They are so terrified of rejection that they stay in the safety of the texting phase for weeks. They think they are building a connection, but they are actually just boring her into oblivion. A woman's interest has a shelf life. If you do not move the interaction from the digital world into the physical world, or from the platonic into the romantic, the energy will sour. You must lead the interaction toward a clear goal. If you have been texting for more than a few days without suggesting a meeting, you are failing your duty as a man. Leadership is attraction. When you say, "I'm going to this new lounge on Thursday at 8, you should come with me," you are taking the burden of decision-making off her shoulders. You are showing direction. If you wait for her to suggest the date, or if you ask, "What do you want to do?" you are showing weakness. Move fast, be direct, and don't be afraid to break the pen-pal dynamic. If she rejects the escalation, at least you know where you stand, and you can stop wasting your most valuable asset, your time. Finally, we must confront the reality that sometimes there was never any interest to begin with. Some women use dating apps and social media as a form of digital validation. They aren't looking for a partner, they are looking for a fan club. They will reply to your messages just enough to keep you interested, but they will never agree to a date or invest any real effort. They are breadcrumbing you. You need to develop a high-value filter to spot these time wasters early. Look at the ratio of effort. Are you asking all the questions? Are you the one always initiating? If the answer is yes, you are being used for an ego boost. The moment you realize the effort is not being reciprocated, you must walk away without a word. Do not ask for an explanation. Do not get angry. Just disappear. Your absence is the only leverage you have. If she was actually interested, she will notice the vacuum and reach out. If she wasn't, she won't, and you have saved yourself weeks of wasted energy. The ultimate shift you must make is psychological. You have to stop viewing ghosting as something that is being done to you and start seeing it as a filter that is working for you. When a woman ghosts, she is doing you a favor by revealing either a flaw in your strategy or a lack of alignment in her interest level. Both are valuable data points. True high-value attraction is not about tricks or hacks. It is about the internal realization that you are the most important person in your own life. When you have a mission, a career, and a set of goals that take precedence over any woman, your energy changes. You stop being the hunter and start being the one who is sought after. You become a man of substance, a man who is too busy building a legacy to worry about a missing text message. This is the tough love you need to hear. Stop chasing and start building. The phone is just a tool, not a mirror of your worth. When you master your own psychology, you master the world of dating. No more games, no more confusion. Just a clear, direct path toward the respect you deserve. Stay focused on your growth, keep your standards high, and never apologize for being a man of value. Ghosting is merely a symptom of a deeper imbalance. You are focusing on the other person's behavior rather than your own value proposition. If you are constantly checking your phone, you are vibrating at a frequency of lack. If you are busy working, training, and connecting with high-quality peers, a missed text is an insignificant blip on your radar. This shift from scarcity to abundance is what makes a man truly magnetic. It is not about being cold or distant. It is about being grounded. When you are grounded, you do not need anyone else to validate your existence. This independence is what women find irresistible. It signals that you are a leader, not a follower. It shows that you have a world of your own that she has to work to enter. This is the foundation of high-value attraction. To implement these shifts, start today by auditing your current interactions. Where are you overinvesting? Where are you being predictable? Where have you allowed your boundaries to be crossed? Correct these things immediately. Do not announce the change, just embody it. Action is the only language that matters in this arena. The world of dating is a competitive landscape, and only the men who are willing to do the internal work will thrive. You are now equipped with the psychological map to navigate these waters. Use it wisely, act with integrity, and always prioritize your own self-respect. The silence of others is only powerful if you give it meaning. Take that power back. Your journey toward becoming a high-value man starts with how you handle the next unanswered text. If you can master your response to silence, you can master any interaction. This is the discipline of the elite. This is the standard you must hold yourself to. No more excuses, no more chasing. Only leadership, only value, only results. In the end, the woman who ghosts is doing you the greatest favor imaginable. She is clearing the path for someone who actually values what you bring to the table. But more importantly, she is giving you the opportunity to find that value within yourself. If you never face the void of a silent phone, you may never learn to be truly self-sufficient. This process of being ghosted, analyzed, and then pivoting into a higher version of yourself is exactly how you build emotional resilience. Resilience is a trait that serves you not just in dating, but in every single facet of your existence. Whether you are building a business, leading a team, or navigating complex social circles, the ability to remain unmoved by the withdrawal of others is your greatest asset. It allows you to stay objective, to keep your emotions in check, and to make decisions based on logic rather than desperation. Most men will read this or hear this and they will understand it intellectually, but they will fail in the execution. They will feel that familiar itch to double text when the anxiety kicks in at 2 a.m. They will falter when they see her post a story on Instagram while leaving their message unread. But you are different. You are here because you want to break the cycle. You are here because you are ready to stop being the victim of a digital trend and start being the architect of your own social reality. This requires a level of discipline that most men simply do not possess. It requires you to sit with the discomfort of being alone. It requires you to face the possibility that some connections will end abruptly. And it requires you to be okay with that. When you reach the point where you genuinely do not care if she replies or not, that is when you have won. That is the point where you become the most attractive version of yourself. Why? Because you are no longer tethered to her approval. You are free. And a free man is a dangerous man to a woman's sense of indifference. She will feel that shift in power even through the silence. She will sense that she no longer has a hold on you, and that is often the very moment the ghost returns. But by then, you will have moved so far ahead that you might not even care enough to let her back in. That is the true high-value play. Keep your head up and your mission clear. The right people will always find a way to stay in your life. The wrong ones will find a way out. Let them go. Build your empire, and the rest will follow. This is the path of the respected man. This is the only path worth walking. Now, go out there and lead.